How's it going today? My name is Mr. Fogel, and today we are going to be talking about the Columbian Exchange. And this is where the old world of Europe and Africa come colliding together with the new world of the Americas. We are talking about the Eastern Hemisphere and the Western Hemisphere on a collision course that will forever change the world. It is such a huge impact, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. The Columbian Exchange, of course, gets its name from Christopher Columbus, and we know that in 1492 Columbus sailed the ocean blue. Well, in that sailing and that discovering of these new Americas, he had no idea the impact that would have on the entire world as the old world and the new world come colliding together. Now, the Columbian Exchange happened from about 1492 all the way through the early 1600s, and part of this exchange ended the Aztec Empire, the Inca Empire, and what was left of the Mayan world at that time. The Europeans came over and took over all three of those civilizations that we studied. So what is a good definition of the Columbian Exchange? Well, it is the exchange of people, plants, and animals from the old world or the Eastern Hemisphere to the new world, the Western Hemisphere, and from the Western Hemisphere to the Eastern Hemisphere. Back and forth, things were exchanged across the world. You could say this was a constant exchange of new ways of life and new ways of death. So let's jump right in here to the diseases that were brought from the old world to the new world. The old world had all kinds of domesticated animals and livestock that the new world did not. And from this, all these different diseases that were about in Europe and in the Africas that were not around in the New World. When they were brought over, this led and contributed to anywhere from 50 to 90% of native populations being wiped out by disease. Now, of course, this also contributed to the fall of the Aztec civilization, the Inca civilization, and whatever was left of the Maya civilization, because their people were wiped out from disease. So the diseases that came over were malaria, smallpox, influenza, measles, and even the whooping cough. Now, there was smallpox. This was an airborne killer, and this one just took over rampant in the Aztec and Inca world and destroyed so many of them, including all Native Americans in North America. Smallpox was a deadly disease, and I know that we look at 2020 with our coronavirus and how deadly that is, and how it spread not even close to smallpox in the Columbian Exchange. We're talking 50 to 90% of the people died from it. So this was a crazy disease. Now, going from the new world to the old world, not much exchange happening there as far as disease goes, except they did send back to Europe tobacco. Now, tobacco, not necessarily a disease, but tobacco and the use of tobacco contributed to thousands upon thousands of Europeans dying from using tobacco. So you could say that the answer for the diseases from the New World back to the Old World was tobacco and the use of tobacco all throughout Europe. Let's talk about the food and animals. So from the old world to the new world, the food coming was bananas, coffee, sugar, citrus fruits, and onions. And from the new world to the old world, you had tomatoes, potatoes, avocados, pumpkins, tobacco, cacao beans, which is chocolate, and maize, which is corn. The animals that were transferred from the old world to the new world were cows, horses, and pigs, which had a huge effect on the new diet in the Americas. I mean, can you imagine being in America without a hamburger? Also, from the old world to the new world, turkeys were the main animal that was transferred back as far as diet goes. Another part of the Columbian Exchange was the exchange of people. So when the Europeans came to the Americas, they found that they could establish agriculture and grow things such as tobacco and sugar and cotton and other things that they could make them a lot of money. The only problem was they didn't have anybody to work the fields, so they tried to enslave the Native Americans. The only problem with enslaving the Native Americans was they knew the land better than the colonists did, and so the Native Americans would just run off, sneak off into the hills and never be seen again. So they established a slave trade from Africa, and Africa got a bunch of new foods and crops into Africa, which actually created a spike in population there in Africa. But they also shipped their people off to be enslaved in the Americas, which ended up being an unfortunate side effect of the Columbian Exchange, yet something that definitely was there and needed to be discussed and included in the Columbian Exchange. And that is the Columbian Exchange in a nutshell, even though I don't think you could fit all that information inside an actual nutshell, unless maybe it was a walnut or something like that, but who cares about that anyways. So hope you enjoyed the Columbian Exchange, and there is a quiz to follow this video, so have fun, and we'll talk with you guys later.